The brave boys. Ethan and Jack were two young men. They came from rich families. They had big houses, new cars, and everything they wanted, but they were not happy. They wanted to do something good. They wanted to help people. One day, they sat in a cafe and talked. "Let's travel," Ethan said. "Let's go to places where people need help." Jack smiled. "Yes, let's help those who are in pain. Let's fight for justice." That was the beginning of their journey. They packed their bags and said goodbye to their families. Everyone thought they were going on a fun trip. But Ethan and Jack had a secret. They wanted to help people in other cities and countries. They wanted to stop the bad people who hurt others. In each city, they looked for stories. They listened to people and learned about their problems. Sometimes they gave food, sometimes they gave money, but sometimes they had to fight. They were not soldiers, but they were brave. One day they came to a small town. The people there were quiet and afraid. "What happened here?" Ethan asked. An old man said, "A bad man rules this town. He is cruel. He takes our money. He hurts our people." Jack looked at Ethan. "We must help them." They decided to stay in that town. It was not easy, but Ethan and Jack were ready. They had a plan. They wanted to give hope to the people. They wanted to bring peace. Ethan and Jack stayed in the town for many days. They wore simple clothes. They talked to the people. They made new friends. Slowly, the people started to trust them. The town was small, but the problem was big. The bad man had many guards. He had power and money. He watched the people every day. No one could speak against him. If they did, they were taken away. Ethan and Jack saw the fear in the people's eyes, but they also saw something else. Hope. Ethan made a secret map of the guard posts. Jack talked to a few strong men in the town. "We can help," he said, "but we need you with us." The men were scared, but they agreed. They wanted a better life. They wanted their families to feel safe. The boys worked at night. They moved quietly. They hid notes under rocks. They used signs to share their plan. The people began to whisper. "Change is coming," they said. Ethan and Jack are not afraid. The town was slowly waking up, but not everyone was happy. One day, a young shepherd boy saw Ethan talking to the town men. He did not understand the plan. He thought Ethan was dangerous. That night he went to the bad man's guards. John and David travelled to many places. In every town they saw pain and fear. Some people had no food. Some people had no home. The rich were powerful. The poor had no voice. But John and David brought hope with them. They helped people in small ways. They gave food. They shared money. They fixed broken houses. They also stood against bad leaders. They told the truth. People began to listen. In every city, more people joined them. The friends were smart. They knew how to plan. At night, they met in secret. During the day, they acted normal, but they always watched and learned. They knew who was good and who was not. They trusted very few people. Sometimes they wore simple clothes to hide. No one could know who they were. Some people wanted to stop them, but others helped. Old men gave them advice. Young people followed them. Their message was strong: be brave, help each other. One day they came to a mountain town. The people there were sad. A rich man took all their land. He had many guards. No one could stop him. But John and David had a plan. They wanted to help the town, no matter the risk. John and David stayed in the town quietly. They talked to the people at night. The people were scared, but they listened. John said, "You are strong together." David said, "You can fight for your home." Slowly, the people started to believe. They planned for many days. They made maps. They watched the rich man's house. They knew where the guards stood. They knew the best time to act. The people were ready. Their hearts were full of hope and fear, but not everyone was loyal. One day a shepherd heard the plan. He was afraid. He went to the guards. He told them everything. He said, "Two strangers want to start trouble. They want to take the land back." The guards listened and got ready. That night John and David met with the people. They did not know the guards were coming. The shepherd watched from a hill. He looked sad, but he did nothing. Soon many guards came. They had guns and sticks. They shouted, "Stop!" The people ran. John and David stood still. They did not run. They looked at the guards. David whispered, "We came to help, not to hurt." John said, "Be brave." We did our best. The guards grabbed them. They hit them. The sky was dark and full of noise. The guards took John and David to the rich man. He looked at them and laughed. "You thought you could win?" he said. John was hurt, but he looked at the man and said, "The people will rise. Maybe not today, but one day." David stayed quiet, but his eyes were full of fire. They were put in a small, dark room. Their hands were tied, their faces were bloody, but they did not cry. They talked to each other. John said, "We did something good." David nodded. "Even if we die, we gave hope," he said. That night they prayed for the people. In the town the people were sad. They cried for John and David, but they also felt strong. They remembered the words, "You are strong together." Even the children talked about them. The fire in the hearts of the people did not die. The rich man wanted to scare the people. He ordered the guards to bring John and David outside. He shouted, "This is what happens when you fight back." The people were forced to watch. Some turned away. Others stared with wet eyes. The guards raised their weapons. John looked at the sky. David whispered, "We are free." The sound of the wind was soft but strong. Then everything was quiet. Their bodies fell, but their story did not end. The news of their deaths spread quickly. People in many cities heard about the brave young men who had fought for freedom. They were sad, but they remembered the good things these men did. Their names were now remembered with respect. In the city where they had died, people gathered to honor them. They told stories about the good things they had done and promised to continue their work. They wanted to make the world a better place, just as the young men had dreamed. Even though the young men were gone, their story lived on. Their message of helping others and fighting for justice inspired many. People continued their work, and their legacy was passed down through the generations. In the end, the two young men did not die in vain. Their courage gave hope to many people. Their stories showed that one person can make a difference. The end.